Hello, 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 and welcome to the Rag Company Podcast. I'm Dane Hennen. To my right, Levi Gates.
Oh, it feels so good to be back.
Across from me, Anthony Fisher.
Hey.
And to my left, Morgan McMurray.
Hey, guys.
Wonderful. Everybody sounds chipper today.
Wow.
It's a cold morning, so it's kind of nice.
It gets your attention, wakes you
Feels
up.
good.
Yeah.
Gets you ready for the day.
And also, it's not like first thing in the morning like we do sometimes, so this has given us a chance to work our way through the day a little bit first.
My favorite was this morning in the meeting when Dane said, get your affairs in order
I did
before
say
we're going to do
that.
the podcast.
Yeah, he did say that.
Like he was going to murder us.
Wow, yeah.
I was
It is now 12:30.
I was kind of concerned by
Dark.
that because I was like, that was an interesting choice of words. Get your affairs in order.
You know me. Sometimes I throw a turn of phrase in there.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
what that's called, I guess.
I use a lot of words to say simple things, and that drives some people nuts. So I am
Everybody, make sure you're ready to go.
highly aware.
We're going to do the podcast 12:30.
Yeah.
That's
Instead
why
of-
you guys are in
I
the videos.
literally
and
thought I
I'm
needed
not.
to call a lawyer to get a will figured out before
get
we
that
did this,
ready.
Dane.
All right.
I walked in here fearing for my life.
Wow.
That's all I'm going to say.
Wow.
I think
And
Anthony
yet
felt
you
that
still
same
walked
way.
in here a little later than I
Well,
would have
you know,
hoped,
I like
so
to live dangerously.
Oh, my God.
That
So-
was dangerous.
Yeah.
So
I was in downstairs helping customers.
True.
Gotcha.
He had a job to do.
So this week's an exciting week because we have a couple
Yeah.
different things going on. Not only is this the last podcast that you're going to have from us here at the Rag Company HQ before SEMA week.
Other than the live stream Q&A, of course.
Dane, we were
live
getting
stream
there.
Q- yeah,
Oh,
Dane.
wow.
Dane, I know Dane's always like, this is the main show, not to be confused with the Q&A held every Thursday at
Not
3
to be confused
5
with the
p.m.
detox
and not
cast
to be
where we
confused
have
with
somebody
Detox
from
Cast.
the detailing community.
Not to be, yeah, we have so many different episodes here. But basically, we have this week, it's our last week here, and until next week, and then not just that, but it's also Halloween week.
It is.
And right now, if you're watching this on YouTube, you may notice that we are not in costume because we are saving that for Q&A Thursday because that is more of a
Good reason to
video
watch.
friendly video. So stay tuned for Thursday to see what we dress up as. Do you guys have your costumes in mind?
I don't have any costumes, but I'm going to go upstairs in my house and look in our costume pile.
Okay. Dane, you need a costume for you.
It's a tough one. I have costume at home from years ago, but, you know, I don't want to have to recycle the same
Dane,
thing.
you could go to Savers tonight and get yourself a $10 costume.
I could, but will I?
I don't think so. Morgan, you have your costume, right?
No.
All right. So it sounds like half of us are good.
All right, perfect. I'll talk to my wife and see what kind of costume I'm allowed to get.
Okay.
Comment below if you want to see me arrive as Wilfred.
Dane, that's the only costume you have. So you've
That's the
just
only
given it,
costume
you've
I have.
given it away.
Dane could just go
No.
to like Fred Meyer's and do what you did and get a pajama set
Dane, yeah.
and wear that to
Yeah.
work.
Dane, you could
It's an
literally
option.
wear anything. It just,
Be great.
I
just
still want Dane to be a giant baby.
Oh, I think
why,
that would be a
why
great
do
one.
that? Why?
Get him a diaper and a bottle,
yeah.
and he's been working out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it'll be pretty impressive.
Just get a big onesie. They have them at Walmart.
Oh, big onesies.
Yeah,
Even better.
Dane,
Like
yeah.
a weird unicorn.
You
one of those
could. You can
freaking-
go to Fred Meyer and go get a big red onesie and just have a pacifier in your mouth.
Yeah.
The problem is,
Walk
once
around
somebody
with a
has
teddy
a
bear.
picture of you like that, then they show it to everyone, and people assume that that's like your thing. And then, whoa, don't want that.
Cool with
So
that.
I saw Dane got his hair cut this week.
Yes.
This weekend. Nice. Did you
Right.
do that yourself?
Ferret hunter. Yeah.
Did you
You
do
know.
that yourself?
No.
Oh, okay.
I like how
Did you mow your
he's
lawn?
asking that like it determines the quality, though.
Okay.
For the last.
Just a question.
last
I don't know.
time.
Maybe
Uh-huh.
you said no. I had Liz do it.
Little shade.
That's pretty nice.
Yeah.
Not shade. Just asking a question.
So getting back on track here.
Anthony, when are you getting your hair cut?
We need my hair is already cut.
Okay, you're
Yeah,
not going to
he's-
cut it
he's
again
set.
before
I
SEMA?
am not. I'm going to let it grow.
Okay.
He's not going mohawk this time. He's letting it grow on the
No,
sides.
I'm not. I got enough crap for that last year, and so I'm going to go as a normal person. I might wear some snapbacks some of those days. So
Ooh, clean.
Nice.
just to keep
Nice.
things.
Morgan,
original.
are you getting your hair cut?
I am.
You are before we
I
go?
am.
Very nice.
I am. I have
Okay.
a lot of things actually to do before
Yeah,
we leave.
I got to cut my hair
It's going to be
too.
very expensive.
Okay.
So you guys
Yeah.
should just
See,
all be
it's-
thankful.
It's a
It's
little. It's pretty good. Sides are all right, but I am going to go shorter. I'm going to try and go to skin so I can be like Dane.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, cool.
See, I'm growing out the middle so that I can, sway it over.
I think it's great.
Yeah.
You see,
So needless to say,
that's
it's
why I said it looks good. I'm not
Thanks.
SEMA preparation week. There's a lot to get done before we leave. Really excited. We're really pumped.
picked up our shirts today this
We
morning.
picked up our shirts that have
They look
our
good.
freshly embroidered, have some cool stuff on them. But I think that this is, we've already passed crunch time, so that's already
Yeah.
happened. So right now
Everything's
we're
already been
just
sent.
we're in the final.
This is literally personal belongings. As you have purchased some sausage by Dior.
yes, yeah,
You can
I'll-
see
I'll
this
talk
if you're
about
watching
that.
on the YouTube channel. Dane's favorite scent.
yeah.
Made famous in the during the Detailer's Domain East Coast
East-
Adventure
That has never been aired.
2019.
That has never been seen.
No one even knows.
So
Only those
Yep.
people on
They
the
actually
podcast that listen to us talk
have
about it.
no idea
Oh,
what we're
God.
talking about.
Astute
So
listeners will realize.
So
Yeah.
I like listening to some of our old SEMA stuff prior to getting ready for SEMA. So this weekend I started to detail a few cars. I actually did 3 cars this weekend.
oh wow,
One I started over the week, worked on it, and then Saturday and Sunday I had the little car PT Cruiser done on Saturday morning, delivered it, came back, hopped in my car, drove over to another customer's house, picked up their car, worked on that, a Lexus LS 430 or SC 430
Oh, fun.
coupe. Did that and then delivered it in the afternoon. And then later that night, my friends dropped off their Ford Escape for an exterior. I had to
Wow.
remove water spots and stuff. So very busy weekend at the MOS HQ. But I like to relax while listening to an audiobook and or podcast. So one of my favorites was last year's SEMA Prep podcast, where we were talking about how the year before we were telling Dane to get his shoes on. And how we were all waiting in the car, and Dane was always the last out of the house.
yeah.
And we were like, "Get your shoes on, Dane!" Like I felt like we were parents yelling at our children. But Dane did have like he packed a lot because it was our first year at SEMA.
You
that
don't
first
know
year.
what you're going to use or
'Cause-
what you're not going to
Yeah,
use.
because we were
so-
referencing last year's, what to be ready for, and it
Yeah.
was Dane saying, "Well, I had all the camera equipment. I had to take everything out.
Everybody
I had to
else
get
is
into
just
the-
like, I got the clothes I'm wearing, and then they just show up. Whereas I'm like, hold on, and I
Yep.
got to bring in all the gear.
Ah, jeez.
And so we were dying and laughing about, Dane, get your shoes on. Let's go. Get ready. And you were
Yeah.
like, this year I'm going to be ready. I'm going to be lighter,
Oh.
more. Anyway, I was crying listening to that, re-listening
Were
to
you?
that episode.
This was last year's
This
SEMA.
was last year's SEMA Prep
Right
episode.
before we actually went. And
Yeah.
those shoes were not the most comfortable.
No, this was the first year were the Nikes.
Mm.
We wore the blue Nike Tanjunes.
Now I'm trying to
Yeah,
remember which
those are
ones were
great shoes.
really
You wore those.
uncomfortable.
You wore the Ever Living Snob
Oh,
out
the
of those.
first year ones were
That's-
great. The second year ones I was not a fan
Yeah.
of.
So what I was saying was we were talking about how we were last year
Yeah.
talking about the first year.
Oh.
And us having to make you,
Yeah.
like you were
Yeah.
always the last one out, but you had so much to pack to go with
Yeah.
you because you wanted to film everything.
Yeah.
Then this last year you did really well at being ready to go and getting stuff out. And so this year is a whole new experience for us because there's 11 of us.
Yes. Shameless plug. Go watch our other SEMA
12
videos.
of us actually
Jesus.
staying in the house together.
Yeah.
12 of
Yeah.
us are living together.
Yeah.
Which
That's
is-
scary.
I don't
It's,
know of many companies that do that.
It's like some real world.
Yeah, it is. It's the real world by a rag
Oh,
company.
Yeah. No. So he just sets up nanny cams in the house and just watches
That sounds
everything
great. We should
unfold.
do that.
Jersey Shore.
I think the biggest thing that will I kind of guess determine how this is going to go inside this house is that last year it was a multi-level house,
Yep.
right?
Yeah.
Three
So
levels,
three
floors.
levels. Each floor was exceptionally big,
Yep.
Yeah.
and there was lots of doors, lots of what I mean, lots of ways to escape
Well, the
from other
walk-in
people.
closet in one of those was big enough to make its own bedroom.
Yeah, we had a balcony, we had all sorts of stuff. This year it's all single story, right?
It is single-story house.
So
It's
you're
just
not
spread
going
out.
to be able to escape.
No, we'll have outdoors by the pool,
Yeah,
and that's about it.
Pretty much.
You
it.
might say we're all on the level.
Yes, you could say
Dane,
that,
don't
man.
ever say that again.
What is your plan? Are you going to use the aquatic center at the house?
So I was thinking about the whole swimming ordeal, right?
I was thinking that's probably the best way to take a shower every day
not-
after.
Just a
Just
shower
do
with
that.
chlorine.
So
I was thinking about it. I got out of the shower last night, and I thought, this time next week, we will literally probably only have 2 bathrooms for 10 people to use.
yeah,
So here's my
Awesome.
question: do you guys take morning showers?
I am a nighttime shower. I
Yeah.
like to shower before bed.
Before bed.
I am a
Okay.
morning shower person for sure.
Okay.
So is
Cool.
Dane.
High five. No,
So-
I'm an evening person.
Oh, you
We-
are?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I was gonna high five for
Okay.
Looking
Yeah,
out,
Didn't,
because-
know.
didn't
you
know
know.
any of the times.
Didn't know that.
So basically, what I'm thinking is that if I'm going to go swimming, it will probably be it's going to be at night.
Right.
I'd probably do like a night swim type of thing. But it also depends on the temperature, right? Because
True. It might be
basically Vegas is always pretty scorching hot. During the day, it's still very warm outside. At night, if it gets chilly, chances are I'm not going to want to go swimming. So we'll just kind of have to play it by ear, I guess. But I'm also not a big swimmer. If anything, I'd probably just literally sit in like the 3-foot section and just chill.
If there was a hot tub, I'd be very down.
There's no
hot
tub.
tub.
As far as I know,
hot tub
there's
is
no
different,
hot tub. We will
But
find out when we get there.
I don't like being cold and wet.
I guarantee you,
Not a
though,
vibe.
Josh is going to be out there.
Oh, Josh.
every night.
Yeah.
Josh is going to be
Belly
swimming
flop.
laps for
He's
sure.
gonna be belly flop.
So Josh is
I
going to be
know
like,
it.
guys, water's great. Jump on in. We're going to jump in. It's freezing. He's like, don't worry. You get used to it real fast. You know,
What he
All of
doesn't
us
tell you,
get
he's like in
pneumonia.
the polar bear club, and
But I think all the guys, we're all going to have, we'll have fun. I think I'll bring my swimming suit for sure, or something I can swim in.
Bring
They
it
all
just in
bring mine
case,
too.
You know,
Yeah.
That way, in case I need to get in, I can get in. But
Right.
remember, I'm not
just-
a strong swimmer.
I'm just hoping that at some point in the night, Dane goes out there. Dane, I hope you have a couple drinks, and I hope that our sliding glass door has blinds on it
Vertical
Oh,
blinds.
Jesus.
to knock down.
I was offloading footage,
man.
and it's
All the blinds
couldn't
started
close the
falling.
blinds.
it's a thankless job, but someone has to do it.
But anyways, all right, let's jump into the weekends. We can kind of touch up on some of this stuff later. So, Levi, you said you were detailing this weekend. Oh, you're
Cool.
on. Big
Elaborate.
yawn.
Sorry, I had a yawn there right in the middle when you asked me that question. Detail a little bit this weekend. It was a very long weekend, is what it felt like because of that. But a lot of fun. Hadley finished Harry Potter, the first one,
Oh, wow.
Sorcerer's Stone. So
Oh.
she finished that earlier this week, and so the plan for the weekend was that she was going to be able to finally watch the movie. And one thing that Carly and I set out with the kids is Hadley has to read each book, and then she can watch the movie as a reward, but she can only read one book per year.
Oh wow!
What?
So you're really
What?
dragging that out.
What is the reason for that?
Are
Yeah,
you
what-
saying like one Harry Potter
This
book per
this
year?
almost sounds like punishment.
Yeah.
Okay, I
No,
thought you meant
well,
like
I-
she's allowed one book to read.
No.
I don't just
At all?
because you want to ruin her youth, or what are you trying
No,
to do?
Like by the
Because
time
by the-
she's done, she's
by the
gonna
time
be
she's
all.
done,
she's like,
she'll-
so she's 30 when
No,
she's done.
there's only 8 books. She'll be fine.
That's kind of messed up.
8
Levi.
years. Towards the end, she'll be fine because they kind of double up and they're a little easier to read. So she'll be able to.
She's probably gonna like lose interest halfway.
Let me just
through.
put it this way: the point is, there's a lot of adult themes
Okay.
that get farther on in those books that
Fair.
I don't feel my 8-year-old needs to read.
Okay.
And 4, 5, 6, that's preteen stuff.
Yeah.
And it gets to a point where it's going to be a little harder for her psychologically to understand that. Remember, my child isn't a normal child,
Yeah.
Fair.
but she reads a copious amount of books. So this is something we want to reward her with.
Okay.
And I don't want her just watching the movies
No.
willy-nilly without that. My wife and I take Harry Potter very seriously. And it's something that we want to allow her to watch. Now, if she wants to start reading the second book right away, that's something Carly and I will talk about and think about if that's something that we feel she should do, or she could wait till, January, February, March and read that. This was the first big chapter book that we've ever experienced as a parent reading to a child. And so that's been something for us to do as well and take turns reading. And so it's just figuring out, and you don't understand it till you have kids and what you want to safeguard your children from or what you want them to talk about or watch. There's so many TV shows that we have to censor, like America's Funniest Home Videos. You'd think would be very inept and easy
You
for
would
kids.
assume it's fairly family friendly.
It's not for an 8-year-old with a photographic memory
Oh.
who repeats everything that she hears.
Okay.
And will tell everybody about that.
Mm.
So she has a hard time breaking that apart. And so that is something that we have said, we do not want you watching America's Funniest Home Videos. She focuses far too heavily on the video itself.
Okay.
So there's little things. I also noticed that if I just started on Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood, like the old versions, like
the
from-
best versions.
Right.
Oh,
that has
so great.
calmed her down when she watches TV so much and brings her energy level
Well, Mr.
into
Rogers
a
is
normal.
Mr. Rogers is a
It's
national
very,
treasure.
it's very peaceful, and it's amazing just to watch. Like,
Yeah.
I love watching Teen Titans with her. I love watching Gravity Falls with her. I love doing all this stuff.
But that's like up
But
here
it's
in terms of energy.
It's
yeah.
high energy, and it gets them really amped up.
Yeah.
It's funny and great, but it's amazing to watch the level of what they're capable of at that and their attitude. So there's certain things. So like Harry Potter, the Sorcerer's Stone, it took us 2 days to get through it
Okay.
because halfway through, Hadley was like, I'm done watching this.
Oh.
After about 45 minutes or so,
Yeah.
about an hour.
Interesting.
She was like, I want to save this. That's fine. We
Yeah.
paused it and went back downstairs. And then Sunday she goes, okay, at like 4 o'clock, I'm ready to watch it again. So we went upstairs and watched it, finished it off, and that was good. But it's just the fact that she is not that child that I can bombard her with everything, nor would I want to, nor would I ask that people do that when they're 8, 9 years old, because the farther in the books are, they're not, there's viewpoints that you don't want to deal with. Like, I've seen parents that let their kids watch the Avengers Endgame.
They're questions you don't want to answer
My
yet.
kids I'm not going to let them watch Endgame. I let them watch some of the other Avengers movies and stuff because they love it. They have fun with it, and I don't see certain things that are wrong in certain spots. But like in the beginning of Endgame, when Loki's killed right off the bat,
Yeah.
Augie loves Loki.
Ooh.
Worships, like, thinks it's the greatest, like, he loves that character.
Mm-hmm.
I cannot let him watch that because it's a brutal death. You know, so it's just that kind of stuff. So,
And you know your
I didn't
kids
mean to
better than anyone
sidetrack
else
that, but
does.
it's just coming as a parent and trying to figure out what you do. So the kids had a great weekend with that. That was
Yeah.
really cool. It was fun to be able to sit and cuddle with them on the couch and experience something like that. We've got Harry Potter movie posters in our upstairs in our theater room.
Sure.
So like we take it pretty seriously, and they get to see the cover art and stuff. And so it's fun, but
yeah.
it's the fact that this was the first entrance for them into it. And Augie watched it with us, and he could take it or leave it.
Not his thing.
Well, he's 5. It's different when they're 5. So
question for you: would you let your kids watch Ren and Stimpy?
no.
Well, how do you think I turned out the way I did?
Yeah. I mean, like, I'm sitting here, I'm like, well, I was watching that at what, like,
Rocco's
7?
Modern Life and Ren and Stimpy were...
Oh.
Rocco's
yeah.
Modern Life, I
Yeah.
don't mind.
And Rugrats, too. for
Rugrats is fine.
us.
Ren and Stimpy was.
But Ren and
But
Stimpy was
Ren
like
and-
another level.
Oh, it was.
Ren and Stimpy is another level. And I started watching Ren and Stimpy when I was like 12 or 13.
Yeah.
So I was younger, and then that's when. I mean, my parents did not let me watch South Park.
Mhm.
They did not let me.
I was an adult.
Still found ways.
Did I still watch South Park? Absolutely.
Yeah.
I was watching.
See, I was an adult when South Park came out. I was 19 when
Yeah,
that
I was
came
9. I was 9. I was.
So
in
I've never
4th
seen an
grade.
episode of Family Guy
out. Okay. Yeah.
or
There's
like, any of
some
those.
episodes of Family Guy when it first started out that it was okay, and then it got really raunchy.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
it started in the late 90s, early 2000s. So, I mean, there's a lot of time between then and now.
But what I grew up fast with, I grew up fast, but still for how do I say this? It wasn't bad in my parents' eyes. They were okay with it, and it wasn't even bad in my eyes. Like, I didn't learn anything bad from it, but I learned a little bit more about being a grown up was when watching King of the Hill. Like,
Yeah, I used to-
for some reason, like, that show, I liked it because it was still a cartoon, but it was a lot of it's grown up things, not necessarily
it
being
was
bad
a lot more
grown-up
adult
things.
themes, but not like in necessarily like a raunchy, racy adult themes thing. It was just more like dealing with life as an adult that had a lot of that in that show, which made it interesting. But a lot of kids I knew would get bored with that show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, if
I
you kind of know
loved
what's
it,
going
dude.
on, it makes
Well,
it
like
more interesting.
Carly and I the other night watched the 30th Halloween episode of The Simpsons,
Yeah.
Yeah.
and that was weird to go like, oh, it's been
Oh, Treehouse
I
of
was
Horrors and all that
9
stuff.
years old
yeah.
when this
I love-
debuted, and I remember being 9 watching that first one, and here I'm at 39 watching it and going like, 30 years of The Simpsons, 30
Yeah.
years
It's
of
a
one TV
institution.
show. That's
Yeah.
absolutely insane
Yeah.
to think about. And like, I grew up with The Simpsons. That was my thing. I watched
Yeah.
The Simpsons at 9 years old, a little older than Hadley, and we're talking about getting them into that. They've watched the Simpsons movie and they think it's funny, but like today, Hadley goes,
Now, I find that interesting.
Hadley literally said, Mr. Simpson said this. She didn't
So-
call him Homer. She called him Mr. Simpson.
Like, they're real people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I find
And
so
I said,
interesting
our iPad's
is
name is Homer.
just
That blew her mind.
totally, I'm not going to tell anybody how they raise their kids. I just find it interesting. They've seen The Simpsons, but, like Avengers and stuff is like
They've only seen the
selective.
Simpsons movie.
Okay, but I mean, that's still got some themes in it and stuff.
Not
but-
like a brutal death of Loki.
No, and I guess, okay, so this is where, obviously, this is not usually our, but hey, we're real
No,
people
that's
and
why
we
we're
think about this
talking
stuff.
about it. It's
I
just
find
little
this stuff
stuff.
interesting because I was always into sociology and like psychology and stuff like that. I just always find it interesting what people choose to censor and what people choose not to censor. Different countries you go to,
yeah.
sometimes it's more the violence versus like, anything of racier nature, stuff like that.
yeah.
And different, people, whether it's puritanical or whatever, will find things to draw the line at. But like we were talking about with Ren and Stimpy and stuff, yeah, that one it's crass, but it's,
like, they
it's
love-
fun, but there
Yeah.
is definitely a line.
Well, like SpongeBob.
Yeah,
SpongeBob toes the line.
it
on a lot of
bridges the
stuff.
gap. Yeah,
My kids do like it, but they also could take it or leave it.
and
So-
it's designed to kind of give the
What was
adults
that?
something to watch and the kids
Is it
something to
Dane's?
watch at the same time. Oh, was that both of us? Oh, that was me. Sorry.
But
yeah,
anyway,
I
it's-
always find it interesting, and I know everybody has their reasons.
Right, well, and you don't know until you have children.
But-
it's
but I
easy
had
to,
a-
it's easy to go like, I'm going to do this, but it's
Yeah.
weird when you like
when
can
you actually have the kid, and you're like, maybe
you're like,
I'm
I don't
not
want you watching
so
that because like I
open-minded.
used to hold her and like watch TV,
Yeah.
and I'd watch movies and all kinds of stuff, and she didn't
absorb
ever
it the same way.
She would either be asleep or drinking a bottle. It was different. But then one day I realized, like when I was watching TV, she was watching it with me.
very cognizant of what was going on.
And she's been like that since she was an infant. And I remember she was like 4 or 5 months old. All of a sudden she was watching TV with me. And then I was like, oh, okay, now you're watching. I can't just watch stuff because these are now images projected to her brain.
yeah.
And if you think about you see them when infants are small and they're sleeping, they'll smile when they're dreaming. So then you go, what are you dreaming if you don't have a lot of other images in your brain to work as you dream now? So
Yeah.
that was something that changed me. And then it was like, okay, we're watching Pixar movies.
Yeah. Well, and
before
it's
bed.
definitely
Like, that's what we're going to do. If we're
you
gonna
know
watch
your
TV
kid,
with-
so to a stranger it may be like, huh, why? So as somebody who
Right.
doesn't know nearly as well as you do, I just kind of look at them and I'm like, oh, that's interesting, because it's always where people choose to draw the lines. Like people were freaked out about the Joker movie coming out, different stuff like
Well, yeah.
that. There was like a moral panic, and
so last night my kids watched, they love Scooby-Doo.
Sure.
I let them watch Scooby-Doo as much as they want. They love Scooby-Doo. Augie loves being just scared enough. Hadley loves mysteries. Like she loves trying to figure that stuff
so it's not
out.
about the scares. It's about I want to figure this out.
Yeah, she likes
Yeah.
trying to figure out who the bad guy is.
Yeah.
Augie just loves being like just kind of scared, but they love Scooby-Doo. And
That's great.
So we let them watch Scooby-Doo
Yeah.
and they get a kick out of it, and that's one of the things. And so last night they watched a Batman Scooby-Doo crossover. Scooby-Doo and Batman, and the Joker like was trying to break into Bruce Wayne's bank account basically. So he'd kidnapped Alfred. So the point was at the very end, Daphne started telling the Joker like how much she loved his makeup and loved the shade of his lipstick that he had on. And he said, "Oh, girlfriend, I love the way your lips are and the color of the shade that you're using. And oh my gosh, we could have some fun talking about makeup." That's where they start talking. And Hadley goes, "Ew, gross. The Joker is in love with Daphne." That was her only, and I'm like,
Your takeaway.
okay, if that's your takeaway from that exchange, cool. I'm happy.
Yeah.
Like she puts these own things in her head for what she's watching, and that's fine. But it's what you never know what that outcome's going to be.
Right. And this is why I love hearing this kind of stuff. And sorry, you guys can jump in, obviously, too. It was just a matter of like, I mean, you know
Yeah.
me, I'm very more open about that kind of stuff. It's just like, yeah, let's talk about it. Like, even
Well,
if
and
it's
I'm-
uncomfortable or something kind of out there,
The thing that
I
most
like
people,
having those conversations.
Yeah, but I think also like just for you and me, Dane, sometimes it feels like there are things that like that you will think that what I do is very conservative or puritanical
Sure,
or more
yeah.
religious, in fact, when in my household the only things that I do not abide is drugs and alcohol.
and
That's literally it.
yeah.
And that's all. Everything else I am extremely liberal about and very open about and want to teach my kids about. So like my kids go to the Pride Festival.
Yeah.
They love it. What do I tell them? Well, we explain it to them very simply, but we also say it's also a rainbow party. People who love rainbows because they're little How am I going to explain to them that
It's a lot to
I can
absorb.
give them that they can love whoever they want to love, but this is a festival of rainbows, and they love that, and it makes them happy, and they're excited to be there, and they don't question it,
Yeah.
But there are people that are like, brr, 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 brr.
Oh, yeah. People are
And
going to
that's
be
up to
upset
them.
about.
But in my household, drugs and alcohol are the two biggest things I just don't abide.
For me, I always
That's
look at it as like, does it impact you or affect you directly? No?
No.
Then, all right, you don't have to worry about it.
Yeah.
And that's one of those things that applies to that applies to any of that stuff. In your case, drugs and alcohol makes perfect sense,
Yeah, that's all.
obviously. And a lot of parents feel
If
that
I can
way.
teach my kids to not do it and save them the lessons that I lived, awesome.
Yeah. You impart that wisdom
That's all.
on them.
And my wife was never that same way. Like, my wife has, drank and done other stuff, and I've drank and done so. And it's the fact that I had a tendency to over imbibe.
Right, yeah. And that's usually what leads to that. It's like, I learned my lesson. I'm not.
And the worry
Yeah.
is that my children, as already evidenced, I see a very addictive personalities in them as well.
Hereditary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so if I can just get them started on the right foot and say, don't.
Yeah.
You can still have fun. You can still hang out with your friends. Just don't do that. Or teach them. Then maybe they'll learn to, I don't know. It may all just blow up in my face.
Sure, and
but
that
the point
was
is
kind
you build this foundation.
And that was where I was, interested about that, because everybody's experiences are different. Of course, they're all valid. Totally get that. It's just I've seen a lot of, I don't want to overly concern myself with other people's business. And that's
Right,
something
no.
that I want to let people have that. By all means, don't tread on me. I won't tread on you. It's cool. But I've just seen too many kids, at least that I grew up with, who were sheltered too much as kids.
Oh, yeah,
and
no.
they had parents who were like strict.
and I had that too.
Went nuts.
Oh,
when they
and-
finally got free, they
Yeah.
freaked out.
No,
Like,
and
it
I
was
had
bad.
and I had friends that were like that too. And
Yeah.
by all intents and purposes, I grew up pretty liberal.
And to the point where
And
I
I was
wonder,
fine.
like, how much of that is nature versus nurture? Because you see that and you're like,
Jesus,
okay,
Dane.
it's
Well,
not
and liberal in the sense, liberal, the true definition is just
a lot
freedom.
of yeah,
well,
freedom.
just freedom.
Yeah,
And so my parents let us do a lot of stuff. My parents let us hang out. My parents let us watch whatever
Sure.
we wanted. My dad loved comedy in all forms.
yeah,
And so we grew up with everything that was funny to him, he'd show us.
yeah.
And we'd watch, we were watching all
Naked
the...
Gun, Airplane, all that,
yeah, we
yeah.
watched all those. We watched Mel Brooks. We watched
Yeah.
everything that Mel Brooks did. And that's what we grew up on.
Yeah.
So, like, I loved Blazing Saddles when I was 9 years old.
And then when you're adult, you're like, oh,
Yeah,
that's what
I
that
rewatch
means.
it and I go, holy crap,
Whoa.
that's pretty insane. But my
Yeah.
wife was the same way. So, like, we are very open
Yeah.
with our kids on a lot of stuff. But it's not until you
Yeah.
become parents
Your
and you
mindset
have
changes.
kids that you're like, and it doesn't change. Like, what's good for me is good for me.
Sure.
What's good for them is what I'm
Different.
dictating.
Yeah. And you're just trying not to have an incident, trouble,
I don't wanna have-
anything that.
Let me
you
put it
know.
this way. If I'm going to try and sleep, I'd like to not have to deal with nightmares.
Yeah, nightmares. Fair.
I want them to go to bed so I can get more sleep. Anyway,
All right,
beside
we'll
the
reel
point,
it back to these guys because I
Beside
know
the
they're
point,
feeling left
Augie
out.
threw
here.
up twice last night, which was super fun. He wasn't feeling very good, and it looks like our sound is back
Whoa.
here. But
Got some crazy static going on one of the mics.
anyway,
So is that mine?
yeah.
That's yours.
Wait.
Hello. Oh, that's all of them, I think.
Yeah, Tim, you get that sorted out. But kind of going back to what we were talking about before, about the whole thing, kind of like what you expose your children to, right? I'm not saying that I'm perfect,
There,
right?
it's gone now.
But
Is it?
my parents, like I still look back to when my parents raised me and raised my brother and my sister, right? And how they did things. And what I thought was really interesting was that when I was a kid, so I have my mom and my stepdad who primarily raised me, right? But then I have my real father lives in California, right? My real father pretty much exposed me to pretty much anything and everything, right? I was going to events with him that he was DJing, and I'd go to these big Portuguese festas is what they were, and I'd be around all sorts of people, whether they were drunk, whether they were smoking cigarettes, things like that, right? But it was definitely kind of like the indulgences were pretty much limited to just drinking and eating and cigarettes.
I was
But-
pouring beer at 9 years old
I
at
was gonna
church
say,
parties.
But
So
I
yeah.
remember that so my dad's opinion, like I didn't really look up to my dad in any one of those senses, mainly because I wasn't around him as much as it was my real parents. But like it was almost, this sounds kind of rude, but I didn't really respect the decisions he made, but I developed that opinion about him at an earlier
on, yeah.
age, right, with his lifestyle. And I knew that that was not a lifestyle that I liked and I felt comfortable with, because I didn't like that, the chaotic, late nights, parties, things like that. I didn't like that at that time. So when I would ask my mom or my stepdad, and I would see things on TV, right? So, for example, if you bring back King of the Hill, right?
Right.
You got Dale, who'd smoke literally constantly smoking a
Chain
cigarette,
smoker,
right?
yeah.
So I saw a cigarette being smoked, and I had been around older people that smoked all the time. But I think it was one time I was with my mom, my stepdad. I said, "Have you guys ever smoked cigarettes?" Right? And I remember asking them that, and my mom was just super matter of fact. She's like, "I tried it once. I did not like it. I think it smells bad."
Yeah.
Right? My stepdad says, "Yeah, I tried it a couple of times playing back at softball. I think it also smells bad. I didn't think people liked me when I smelled like cigarettes." Right?
Yeah.
From that point forward, I remember this like it's incinerated in my head.
Yeah.
I associated cigarettes smell bad. People don't like you if you smoke cigarettes, right?
Yeah, right.
So, and that's when I was like, well, I'm never doing that, right? Because I want people to like me and I don't want to smell bad, right? And but that point forward, though, whenever I was around people that smoked, I was like, oh my God, that guy smells bad.
You're extra reactive.
It
to
was,
it.
yeah, and it was almost like it opened up this thing, like, oh, you stink, or that's gross. You have bad breath and all this stuff.
And you think how much of that was from your own experience versus how much of that was from hearing them say that, and you look at them as authority figures.
But it was
and you
him.
go,
But and that's the thing, though. What they didn't say is never do that. They never said don't ever smoke
and
cigarettes.
see,
You'll die.
that's exactly
Right,
how
yeah.
I would approach it. I would do exactly what your parents did. I would say, I did it. I didn't like
Right.
it, because that's the truth. That's what it was
Well,
for me. I was
my
like,
dad smoked
not for
3
me,
packs
and
a day.
I don't like the smell.
Yeah,
And smoked for 3 packs a day for 10 years.
yeah,
Yeah.
And quit when I was about 6 or 7.
Mm-hmm.
Fully quit when I was about 8 or 9,
Yeah.
my mom said. And he always smoked, but he always said, don't smoke. It's bad for you. Whatever you do, don't do it.
yeah.
Well, I smoked 3 packs a day for 10 years.
Because you still say, oh, my dad did it, right?
Yeah.
My dad did it. So I think being around my parents that never did it, but them not telling me not to do it,
Right.
But just telling me, oh, this is our opinion of it. Like, their opinion of it meant, like I said, a lot to me.
Yeah.
And so, like, I really cared about that. Now, that's the thing. My mom would still have a glass of wine every once in a while. My stepdad would have, like, a beer after work,
and
right?
my dad would drink, but he never drank to excess. ever.
No, and so what I remember.
But I did.
But I remember saying, okay, so Hank, they all drink a beer every day, right? So do you guys, do you guys drink beers every day, right?
Yeah.
And are you an alcoholic, right? And they said, no, we're not. We're not alcoholics. Do we like to enjoy our beer every once in a while? Yeah. And they kind of explained me like the difference
Yeah.
between like a need for an alcoholic beverage and just a want at the end of the day. Maybe had a hard working day or something
Just
like
like
that.
out of a
Right.
reaction.
And I remember, and I took advantage of my very Portuguese grandma one day, and I said, I think I was probably 5 or 6 or whatever it was, and she didn't speak any English, right? But I was over at her house, and I was pointing to something in the fridge, and I said, hey, I want that. And she's looking at me like, oh my gosh, no, you can't have that, right? And I started making a big fit out of it. So she poured me a glass of it, and my mom walks in right as I'm sipping this thing. My mom's like, Maria, what are you doing? And my grandma's like, he was crying, asking for the beer. And she's like, you don't give a child a beer, right? But it was funny because I kind of remember that pretty well. But then it was later on, I told my mom, yeah, I remember I had a beer. And my mom was like, yeah, and you hated it. And you hated the way it tasted. And I'm like, I don't know about that. I think it probably was pretty good. And so she says, oh, let's reaffirm that.
Yeah.
Literally cracks open a beer,
There
right?
you go.
Takes a sip out of it. And she's like, I don't even like it. Pours it into a glass. I drink it. I'm like, this is pretty gross, right?
Yeah.
And she was just like,
That's some old school parenting
so
right
it doesn't
there, yeah.
taste good.
Right.
And I said, no, it doesn't taste good. And she's like, but you said you thought you liked it. And I said, yeah, I lied. I don't think I like this.
Right, and that's what I do to my kids. I
so-
try to get them to try things, and then if they don't like it, they don't like it. But at least they've tried it. What I don't like is when they say, I don't like that without trying it. Like
right.
Hadley,
That's frustrating.
Hadley has never eaten cereal. Me, Carly, and Augie are cereal fiends.
Sure.
I will eat cereal for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and be happy with my life.
No, that's
Augie
great.
will eat breakfast, lunch, and dinner cereal if it didn't mess up his blood sugar so bad. So we have to like, I feel bad because he loves it so much, but we have to dictate what days and what times he's allowed to do that. But Hadley has never tried it and literally won't. She's like, no, thanks. Nope. Don't want it. Nope.
Well, and that was one thing. It's like if a kid doesn't like cereal, I mean, you're saving yourself some sugary, unnecessary stuff there. But if you enjoy it, you enjoy it. I just wouldn't want to force them to do it. You know,
I don't ever want to force them.
No.
I'm just,
but at least try it. Sure.
No, from the first day, she was like, I go, do you want some cereal? And like, she's like, no. And we're like,
so was it the
okay.
cereal or was it like pouring milk on it or?
No idea. To this day,
nothing.
she's still like, when she knew how to read at 3, I'd take her through the cereal aisle and show her all the pictures and the colors. And do you want to pick one of these
mascots
out?
And
she knew the word cereal. She saw cereal on it. She's like, nope, I don't want it. And I said, what do you mean? She's like, it's a cereal up there. She pointed to the top of the signs on the aisles. She's like, I don't want to be in this aisle.
See, I'm just curious where it got stuck in her head, like cereal equals bad. You know what, though? If she doesn't want to do it,
Still
it's
no
not the
idea.
end of the world.
But you know
if
who
she
loves
doesn't.
going down the cereal aisle and picking out new cereal? Augie.
Oh, I was going to say you.
And myself. He likes it when we got to go cereal shopping.
Yeah.
Because we buy like 10 boxes.
Oh, man.
And we go get some stuff. And then he's like, yeah, Dad, let's do this. We're going to do some damage.
Eat cereal like you drink Pepsi.
Yeah, he's very excited about that. So, anyway.
Well, hey, we're learning all kinds of things today. This is fun.
It's just the point that, like, it's different until you have kids. You can say the way you would raise them, but the moment that you're in that actual moment with your kids, that's when it changes.
Well, yeah, it's the same way. Like you're watching an athlete in a game, you know, making a play, and you're like, "Oh, I would have done that differently."
Right.
It's like, really, would you?
Yeah, you can armchair quarterback anything.
And that's just it. You don't know unless you're there.
Right. And so, and I know people who have kids, you guys understand what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But it's just that everybody's different. Every kid's different.
Yep.
You know, we have friends that their daughter came over and spent the night one night. She ate her whole pancake. We bought pancakes from the Eggman and Earl down the street.
Sure.
And brought them all over, and all my kids got it. And that girl just sat and ate her pancake without being told to and ate the whole thing. Where I had to tell my son, hey, eat. Og, I need you to eat. No less than 50 times. I had to tell Hadley to do the same thing. Like, are you, like, focus on eating, please. Like, even though she's a very good eater, because her friend was over, she was trying to talk to her about stuff and do stuff, and that's fine. But it was just funny to go like, dang, that kid just ate their food.
That's the thing. Everybody's just a little bit different.
What's up with my kids? Yeah. So, and everybody's different. That's just how
it's
it
not
is.
like there's anything wrong or right with any of them. It's
Did you like eating when you were a kid?
What?
Did you like eating when you were a kid?
Oh, I was fine. Like they didn't like some kids freak out like, oh, I gotta separate this from this. Like I was one of those kids who didn't discriminate. I was just like, yep, cool, that's what's in front of me. All right.
I loved eating when I was a kid.
Did you like eating when you were a kid? You know what my parents did, right?
What?
Growing up in a half Portuguese household and a half
Anglican?
No.
Anglo.
Oh my gosh, I can't remember my other half of my nationality right now.
Oh my god.
Anyways,
what have you been drinking?
Assyrian, sorry. Assyrian.
Okay.
And so very strong on both things. They would blend the actual meals into a blender and feed it to me like baby food.
Oh.
No
So
wonder
they
you
got
got
me-
into fitness because that's all.
They got me started on the weirdest. I'm talking, dude, the weirdest stuff. There's a food called dolma, right? It's basically it's grape leaves, and in the middle is a mixture of like meat and rice and things like that. They would blend that.
They just turn it into
and
pudding.
they would just feed it to me, and they got me on. They were like, "Oh, let's see what he likes. He's so he's got all these ethnicities in him. Let's see what he starts pumping food into him."
So they were making rando smoothies before it was cool.
Dude, I was eating stuff that I probably shouldn't have been eating as a baby.
Oh, no.
And I started eating it. I loved it. And from that point forward, like my mom said that as a kid, she was very worried about me being obese as a young child because of how
Because you never full.
I
You
was
just
never
loved to eat.
I was never full. I always wanted the weirdest food. So my mom would say, "Yeah, we'd be at the store. You're 6 years old. You'd point to the crab in the seafood section." My mom's like, "I had to buy you whole king crabs.
It must be nice, am I right?
And chop
my
this
God.
thing up and feed it to you because you were so set on that. She's like, you didn't want the cereal, you didn't want the granola bars. She's like, yeah, you want like things like Gushers, but she's like, for the most part, you
Little
wanted to-
Anthony wanted a.
She's like,
I want a
delicious
Gusher
dinner of
and an
Gushers,
ox hoof.
Gushers and ox hooves.
yeah. So she's like, you wanted the weirdest stuff, and I was like, well, that's cool, I guess. So, but I'm sitting here thinking to myself, in my future household that I'm gonna have, Katie is picky. She's
Yeah.
super picky, and
Yeah.
I'm not. So, but who's gonna be doing most of the shopping? Probably Katie, right?
So you're going to get a very narrow window of things.
Exactly. So I'm sitting here. I'm like, I need whatever kid we have. I got to introduce it to the most amount of ethnic food possible at a young age to give it that broad spectrum because I don't want it to just like these small things.
And,
So
you
we'll
know,
see.
if they reject it, they reject it. But at least you can try.
Yeah.
But don't be
Yeah.
the parent who, like, abusively forces it on them after the fact,
No,
after they
that's-
clearly said no.
And that's my house. Like,
eat
you
this
know,
goulash. Eat it.
Hadley's got a very small palate. Carly's got a very small palate in
Yeah.
the sense like that's what we eat what we eat, and I just I do my own thing sometimes, but
Yeah.
I eat what they eat.
And that's where, I would make
it
my
makes-
own
it
shopping
makes-
trips with
let's
different
put,
stuff.
Let's
at
put
that
shopping
point.
trips are pretty easy because we just always buy the same stuff.
Yeah,
So
that is easy. Yeah.
It's pretty nice. We always know what we're
Routine
out
is
of.
okay.
Yeah, it's all right and it works. And I'm sure as they get bigger, like, you know, I'm trying to get them more on grilled meats, like barbecue and
Yum.
things like that, where they're still kind of like, you know, hamburgers and hot dogs are
I
trying
think
to get
easy
that.
way to-
Whereas, like, as a
barbecue
teenager and
sauce.
adult, you're
Yeah.
all about that.
No, they don't
Yeah.
like barbecue sauce. I tried that already.
What?
Yeah.
Well, there's
happening?
different
They like
kinds of
ranch,
barbecue sauce.
so-
Oh, interesting.
Ranch. Okay. Well, anyways,
Morgan.
let's
All
get,
right,
let's get
sorry
back,
to dominate.
back into our
Go ahead.
weekends. So,
Yeah.
so you detailed.
That is
You did some other
That is-
stuff.
that
What
was
else did
good.
you do?
That was
Good.
it.
How
Just
did we
worked.
get there?
Morgan, what did
Sorry,
you do?
Morgan.
That was fun, though. I love that.
We were talking about Harry Potter.
Morgan, what did you do for the weekend?
I washed my car.
Okay.
Heck yeah. Optimum no rinse, big red sponge. What do you use?
No, I actually had to go to the coin wash because
Ooh.
I needed to clean my wheels because they were very dirty. That the car as a whole wasn't very dirty. It was
Yeah.
my wheels.
What do
Whatever
you
it
what do you
is.
use? Some good stuff.
I did use a lot of good stuff, but I just don't like going to the coin wash. I really didn't want to do that, but I had to.
Why don't you like it?
Huh?
Don't you like it? Stressful? 'Cause
Yeah.
you're on a time limit.
Yeah.
The beeping sound.
Mhm.
That is kind of stressful.
Mhm.
Do you not
Yeah.
slide your card and just let it run?
I did.
I do that and I just
But
let it
I was like,
burn.
it's $5. It's $5.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, are you kidding? And that's
you
what.
do is you find yourself one of them places that has this
yes.
little key.
Yeah. Yeah.
What is that?
you put money on it, so you can put
Interesting.
20, 30 bucks on it. You just pop that key in and it into the outlet there,
Yeah.
and it starts the timer running, and it starts burning this. And then when you're, let's say, you just need to use the pressure washer to rinse
Yeah.
something, you just put it in, put it on rinse, wash something, and then pull this out, and it stops the timer.
Huh.
And then do what you need to do.
And it's got like a little chip in it or
yeah,
something?
it's got a
You're
little
Cool.
chip.
kidding me.
And then
I've
you
never
throw the
seen
next
that
one
I've
in.
before.
never seen that.
You throw
Yeah.
the next one in, and let's say
for
you need to use soap.
Dirty
or whatever.
Harry's, or was that from?
Wow.
This is for a the car wash over on Federal Way,
Okay.
up by Columbia Village.
Yeah.
So next to the Maverick.
Yeah. I think that. Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about. I hate that one. A lot of direct sun.
There's that's why I go in the evenings.
Yeah.
or
A lot of
late
direct sun
afternoon.
there. I think going to your point though with the coin wash stuff.
Mhm.
One reason why you do like that stuff. First off, it's warm hot water is what they're
Yeah.
always using, and then also their water is significantly softer than anything
Yeah.
you're going to get out of your hose. And so you have your spot-free rinse, right, which is of course fully deionized water. But I think they also have just a main type of deionizer for their main system. So if we're at 250 ppm or whatever the word would be for that, it would roughly be probably around maybe 60 from
Yeah.
what they do. So that's the bright side of using those washes.
I don't actually hate it. I hate it in the winter because it's cold
Yeah.
and there's
Wind tunnel. Is what it
water
feels
getting thrown on me and
Do you have a washing solution package, wash protection solution package yet for the
What do you
Morgan McMurry website?
M&M.
what? What?
Do you have clothes that you wear when you go to do that to
No.
wash? So like at my house, I've always had a set of clothes for when I'm detailing.
Yeah.
So I get a pair of pants that
Detailing pants.
Yeah, but like they're kind like that. I can wear long johns with them, and then I can wear thermals, and then I can wear them over, and they dry quick. They have a somewhat of a wind block on them so that I'm not like freezing. And then I usually have a hoodie and then like a rain jacket, and then I'll usually have gloves and stuff, so I can wash wherever I'm at.
Yeah.
But I can stay warm. I can stay somewhat dry. Even if I do get wet, I dry very quickly.
I'm not that much of an adult yet.
Get some light.
Okay, totally
I
understand.
basically somehow always end up, when I'm washing my car or cleaning my wheels, I somehow am always wearing a white shirt.
And Yeezys.
Oh.
Okay.
No, but I feel like I'm always wearing a white shirt. And during the summer, I would go outside to wash my car, rinse my wheels off, and I would be like,
Oh.
I'm wearing a white shirt again. And then, I get down with my wheel cleaner and the brush, and it's flicking onto my shirt. And then I'm like, oh, it's fine. Like, this will come off. And then I end up with tiny black dots.
Yeah. Just stains.
And I'm like, I know that this is going to happen, but somehow it's
Maybe that could be a goal for the new year.
Yeah.
2020.
Yeah. That'll be
The
my
Morgan
New Year's resolution.
McMurray detailing
wash
clothing
solution.
package.
Apparel package.
Apparel package.
Yeah.
So what else did you do besides wash your car?
That's pretty much it. I did go to my parents' house on, I think, Saturday night, because I know that my mom hasn't been able to really do any Halloween stuff just because of her current medical condition.
Yeah.
So I felt bad, and I know that she really likes holidays and decorating and being festive and doing all those things, and I think especially since I moved out, she hasn't been doing a lot of those things just because she feels like it's
there's
not
no reason.
She doesn't have other people to do it for anymore
yeah
necessarily.
So it makes me sad because like I pretty much was always the one who helped her like organize all those things and like get all that together because obviously like my dad and my brother don't really know or care what to do. So on Saturday I devised a plan and I followed through with it, and basically I went to the craft store and bought like not ceramic, but I guess ceramic like pumpkins.
Yeah.
And then so I bought a couple of those. I bought some paint. I bought some paintbrushes. And then I bought a little like thing for my dad too, so that he could paint. And if you didn't know, everything at Michael's, that's Halloween is 70% off.
Oh wow.
Nice
So
deals.
everything was like, it was $20 for literally everything too.
Yeah.
Wow.
Big, bulky pumpkins, and then all the paintbrushes and paint trays and everything. And so I told my dad, I was like, make sure that you and mom stay home tonight because I'm gonna come by, like I have a surprise for you guys. And so I got over there. My mom was like, what are you doing? Oh, and then I also bought a spooky basket for my dog.
Nice.
So cute. That's awesome.
So cute. There
Wow.
was some Halloween
Was he scared?
themed toys. She was not scared. She
Okay.
was very excited.
Oh, okay.
And she loved that, even though she also has BarkBox.
No.
She enjoyed hand-picked toys that I got
Oh.
for her. So
What a
that was
pampered
great.
dog.
Yeah.
Go to BarkBox
I would die
right
for
now
her,
and
but
put in the code TRC10 to get your coupon.
That won't work.
I was just say other podcasts are sponsored by them. We are not one of those.
BarkBox,
podcasts.
if you're listening, we would love to sponsor you as we are all dog owners.
Yes.
That is true.
But anyway, so we painted the pumpkins, and then they had like openings to put candles in, so it still looked like a jack-o'-lantern basically. So we did that. It was very fun,
Nice.
and my mom was very happy to participate in that sort of festivities.
Yeah.
That's very nice.
Our house is
Glad Kelly liked it.
very decorated for Halloween, but it's been that heavily decorated since September 1st.
I like that. That's pretty sweet.
So they got
One of those.
festive mood real quick.
Oh, my house is Halloween. Like the longest decorations is Halloween
Really?
That's awesome.
out of our house.
I like
Do you leave
that.
them up until Thanksgiving, and then Thanksgiving becomes Christmas time?
I don't know. I'll be out of town
I don't know.
next week, so we'll see what Carly does. I may come home and it maybe
Maybe
all picked
Thanksgiving
up.
time.
Yeah.
I'm just festive with the Christmas tree until it's relevant again.
Oh, very nice.
Yeah.
Dane, yeah.
I see.
That's what I do.
I see.
Dane, what'd you do?
So, yeah, it was basically, I did a little work on the Jag video this weekend. I came in, did a little stuff.
Did your gardener come by and blow out your sprinklers? And
No,
the
I
yard
still need to blow
winterized?
out my sprinklers,
Okay.
but they turned off the water like a week or two ago,
That's
so
good, yeah.
it's not happening
They
anyway.
turned off the water, or you did?
No, they, as in the
Irrigation.
neighborhood, they turn off the water for the irrigation water at the same time every year, more or
Yeah.
less. Yeah,
Did
they
you
put
let
up a
the-
sign that says
Yeah. Did
it's
you let the
done.
valves out on your end?
They're open, but
Okay.
yeah.
Just
So yeah, no, we're okay.
Okay,
What
good.
does that
But I
mean?
already have like an in-ground leak somewhere, so it was
Oh,
already
no.
like a problem
Ah,
because they weren't running
Jesus.
right this year for
Yeah.
summer. So anyway,
So
Track
Yeah.
that down, yeah.
it's a lot of digging to find it.
Don't like that.
No, I don't like that either.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Point is though, things are getting watered. So, yeah,
can you just
I
say
can't
that?
move on.
something's getting watered.
Something's getting watered.
Probably
Okay.
The bodies underneath your house is what's happening.
There's
Don't
no
say
weird
that.
moisture anywhere on the
house
property.
gets a giant
so
sinkhole.
that wasn't the issue. Yeah, just wait.
The mailroom's gonna kill them,
No.
guys. We're
Knocking
gonna
on
lose the
wood, that
mailroom.
doesn't happen.
It's carbon
Okay.
fiber, Dane.
Yeah,
If you knew
There's
that.
wood under it.
Pretty sure this is
There's
all
not.
carbon fiber.
it's pure.
Sure. Okay. Any rate, the most interesting thing I did this weekend was go out to an event that I spotted on Facebook of all
Yeah, I
things.
saw that.
It
That
just
looked pretty
popped
cool.
up, and it was for the upcoming Gem State Raceway.
Yeah.
Which GSR, that's fun.
Yeah.
But no, it was actually kind of interesting to go and actually see it. For those who aren't familiar, we're in the Boise area, but this is taking place up in Emmett, which is about 45 minutes
On
away.
the road to Firebird Raceway.
Beautiful sinkhole of Emmett, yeah.
It's a town.
It is.
And basically, there's like I don't know if it was abandoned because somebody owned it, the mill area that used to be there. There's still like buildings on the property that are mill buildings and stuff with various components there. It's kind of run down, but they're basically tearing down like 90% of it and then keeping a couple of the structures there. And they're going to make it so this racetrack that they're building on it, you'll actually be able to drive through a structure, which is way cool because I don't know many tracks where you can drive through a structure. They said it was the only one, but I don't know if they mean the only one of
Well,
that
the
particular
point is-
size
The only one
or
in Idaho.
what.
The point is, they're making.
It's definitely the only one in
They're
Idaho.
building a cool racetrack finally for road racing.
And people on the
Which is
East
gonna be
Coast,
neat.
the Midwest, the South, you guys are used to having tracks relatively all around. I mean,
Yeah.
it's
You
it's
guys
been
don't
the
get it.
mainstay for many years.
we have an oval track and a straight track. And
Here
that's it.
in Idaho, tracks are few and far between.
They're
What
not. They're only an oval. and a
We have the
straight track.
Meridian
We can
Speedway.
count the Speedway. That thing is literally so tiny that I.
Yeah, we have the
I-
Meridian Speedway, which
It's
is
an
an
oval.
oval, and it's basically like NASCAR practice track ish. And
Not
then
even that.
They,
No,
they
it's
throw
literally like.
It's for karting. It's for karting.
yeah, but I mean they throw stock cars on it.
They do.
They shouldn't.
Well,
shouldn't.
but that's
They've
like
been doing
the
it for-
majority of
they've
what they
been
do
doing
is
it for
stock cars
30
and
years.
sprinters.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
sprint and stock cars.
Yeah, so basically they do a lot of that, but then we also have Firebird Raceway, which is
50 years.
a drag racing track, which is an institution around here. It's been there a long time, and everybody knows that. And
And that's on the road to Emmett.
that is on the way to Emmett. So basically, you get there, it's another 20 minutes or so past that you get to where this new track is being built. And what makes this track cool is it's a road course. It's not just an oval. It actually has turns, and it actually
It's
has
gonna
some
be great.
elevation changes.
What did we say?
some
2 years it'll be
interesting
built.
stuff.
2 years.
Be
They're
great when we
saying-
can take the team out
Yeah.
and the four of us can do some hot laps in our rides.
They're saying somewhere 2021 is when it'll be open to the public.
I'm excited to smoke all y'all
Yeah, we'll
in
see.
the Elantra.
Actually, seriously upsetting to me that it's going to take.
Dane's
that long.
Jag is not going to get any traction whatsoever.
Oh,
And,
but it'll be so much fun. But, yeah. So basically, this, as it stands right now, is just a bunch of dirt, and then those structures, and then some random asphalt here and there for like roads that were on the property.
Right.
But everything is just kind of like crumbling and falling
But
apart.
it's basically it was just it's open.
yeah.
The track's not built yet, but come out and support, have a car show, and kind of check it out.
The main structure that they housed a lot of the cars under was sort of a pole barn
Yep.
kind of thing.
Saw that. Looked
And
really
it
cool.
was way cool because it was run down, but like in a cool aesthetic kind of run down way. It still looks structurally pretty darn sound. Like all the wood and everything looked fine. You could park under it and not worry about it collapsing on you. But
Well-
like lots of broken windows and stuff up above. Just it's got a cool look to it. And what I found interesting was in this whole show, they were doing like a trunk or treat thing where basically everybody comes and they
Yeah.
open their trunks and they got candy and everything. It was like a big event. There were like food trucks and stuff there. It was
Nice.
cool. And a lot of local businesses turned up to kind of take part in it. Lupo,
Yeah.
et cetera, Throttle Works, all those
Yeah.
guys. And I ran into like Matt, and it was cool seeing people he knew around there. But what I found interesting was out of all the cars that came there and showed up at the event, there was an E30 M3 that I knew Morgan would like very much. At
She
the
also,
very
you also saw her boyfriend there.
Well, apparently
No.
he
Oh.
corrected me and said, no, that's not basic Brando, that's basic Mama. So it
I
was.
was. His mom was there.
Yeah, so
Oh.
she was there, but he wasn't, apparently. But I thought he was.
No.
I think
No?
I know why she was there.
Oh, okay. Any rate, so I saw that stuff, and
because she wanted to show off her car.
it's a
Yes.
lowered
That's exactly
it's a
why-
lowered
that's-
Volkswagen
that's
Bug
exactly-
You said it. It
on
sounded a little odd.
bags.
but-
So,
No, I mean, she's there to go with her, but I think I know why she's there. To go with the other
but
cars.
what got me was that she was just up in the parking lot. She wasn't parked with like the cars showing off. She was just parked in the parking lot.
Maybe she was meeting some friends.
So
I didn't
huh.
know where to go.
And
She
you're-
didn't even know until the day before.
So it was interesting, but I only found out about this thing. I found out about like a month ago, and then I just forgot about it, and then
Yeah.
it popped up in my feed like day before the
Come
event.
check
I was
it
like,
out.
I know what I'm doing on that
Yeah.
day. So anyway, got there. What I found interesting though was in the corner of this building. They're gonna reform this and turn it into like the pole barn's gonna become like garages and stuff. So they're gonna basically gut it and fix it up, which will be super cool because that structure is huge. But in the back corner, they had a really old fire truck, like a 30s, 40s fire truck, and then they had so weird. Two Mercedes-Benz R classes, like the weird
Yeah, the
minivan,
dirty
but with the
ones.
doors, not sliding
I
doors.
saw that picture. It's all dirty.
And they were filthy. They looked like
been
remember
sitting back there.
like Larry Casilla had that ammo video where he did the barn find like Mercedes SL. They looked that bad, and they were just sitting there. And then behind it, I noticed there was a 996 911 Porsche behind them. There was a Cabrio, so it had a soft top roof. And I'm looking, what, it's just forgotten back here. These things look like they've been here for years, like several years, and they were just totally messed up, and they were in the middle of like all the other cars that are dressed up and ready to go to show off. So it was just kind of funny seeing
that
it
is
there.
funny.
Well, maybe if you guys want to see a disaster detail like everybody else is doing on YouTube, let us know.
Apparently
in the
that's how you get
comments.
views.
Disaster detail,
called
dirtiest vehicle
called normal
ever.
detailing for the master
Ugly
of shine over here.
detail, worst vehicle.
That was my
mold,
normal days. I should have
bugs.
capitalized on it. Should have had a young Dane Hennen come over and video time lapse.
Honestly, we
all
should
my
just get that
details.
car. Do the 4-picture thumbnail, right?
Yeah.
Type dirtiest detail ever, disgusting. Use
Just
the same
pick a bunch
caption
of like
as everybody
superlatives,
else.
a bunch of
Yeah.
expletives,
Yeah.
a bunch of just
What we'll do
Yeah.
is I will put a body in the back of that.
Oh,
we can use that
yeah.
as one of the thumbnail photos.
and then you'd be
I
like,
know
"Ha,
who we
just
can
kidding, it's
get.
Halloween themed. That's not an actual
Dead body
Nobody
detail.
died."
Okay.
Whose car?
No, not whose car. I'm
Oh, the
talking about
body?
whose body.
Oh,
Oh,
perfect.
oh,
Yeah, we'll
ooh,
find
ah.
we'll find somebody.
Okay, so
Um,
anyway, thought that was
yeah.
cool, and I looked at those and I went, "That's a video opportunity right there, somehow, some way." But barring that, what was really cool about it was they had lines basically for people to hop in like a side by side, like a Can-Am, or a little what do they call those? It looks like a Willys Jeep,
Yeah.
but it's actually a UTV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like a Mahindra something.
That's what
or
it
other.
is a Mahindra.
Yeah, and it was super cool. I got to
Pick one
ride
up.
in that, and I just did a little Instagram live riding around the track because they basically took you around what the track will be, but there's no track there, and it's a bunch of just like potholes and dirt and like weird elevation
Yeah.
changes. So you're taking like these off-roader type vehicles, and they are hauling butt, like going around the whole thing. They were going 60, 70 miles an hour, it felt like, on most of this to really give you a feel for it. Sorry, excuse me. It was way cool to go through the whole thing, and they explain like what the different landmarks on the track will be, because every good track has like landmarks. They go, this is the bus stop. This is where it slows you down for this kind of area, something or other. And they go, and here's the straight, take you up. And basically, it's a long straight until a very tight area. You got to stop right at the end, like hairpin back around. So the whole track was really cool. Had a lot of turns in it. Not huge, but it definitely kept it interesting enough that I think people, when they get to go on it, they're gonna have a lot of fun with it. It
It's gonna be
reminds
fun
me
when
of
you
like,
get your track pass and you're just like you live out there.
I feel like I would actually use it quite a bit. So
and then that's
I
when
want to.
yeah, I
That'll
feel
be,
bad that I sold the Miata because that would be right at home on there.
Oh.
But
shoot, dang it.
it is what it is. Maybe someday I'll get another one. We'll see.
Dane, maybe one day you'll find the ability to scrape up some cash.
Yeah.
Okay.
Purchase one
Yeah.
of those bad
Get some money
boys.
together.
Yeah.
Who knows?
So
Too bad
anyway,
you only
I
have
thought that
a
was
Volvo
super.
and a Jaguar to go play with.
I'll take the sport track there. Just be a weirdo. Okay.
Okay.
Any rate, got that.
Well,
so
it is a sport
that's fun.
track. So.
Ah,
That was fun. Did that. And then Sunday rolled around. Not a whole lot going on then. Just touched up a little video stuff. And then I'm putting the final touches on it today. I want to release it on Wednesday. But, if things go well, maybe I'll just release it tomorrow. We'll see.
ooh, getting
So,
crazy.
that'll be
Dane.
fun.
Dropping it like it's hot.
But I'm doing it kind of backwards, where I'm releasing the after video where we do the optimum stuff. I'll release the before video at a later date. So showing like all the people who helped me get there and, all that
we'll
stuff.
probably get out the East Coast fog before we do that one, though.
Yeah, cool. So you're just saying none of it will ever happen. Cool. All right. Excellent. I know Luke Berge can't wait to hear that.
Yeah.
Oh, any rate, moving on
Anthony,
from me.
what'd you do?
Moving on to me, basically Friday night, I prepared everything for the garage sale that I was having on Saturday.
yes.
Let everybody know I was having that.
Sorry you missed that.
I was a one-man show. Well, one man running the garage sale, but my mom came to help me.
Oh, very
Thank
nice.
God.
Where was your lovely bride?
Wow. My lovely bride, she had a concert to go to Friday night, right?
Oh, okay.
And she assured me, hey, I'm only going for a couple hours. I'll be back later tonight to help you price things and get things ready. And I said, you know what? Hey, go have fun with your friends. I'll see you in a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So she got home at like 12:30, and obviously
Couldn't help you.
Not feeling it.
not feeling the helping thing, right? So I was working on a bunch of stuff, so I was getting things priced. My mom actually came over that night, which was really cool, and so she goes in the fridge. She says, "Do you have anything to drink?" She pulls out, seltzer water, right?
Oh.
Cracks that open. I'm like, Mom, that is a White Claw. And she's just like, it's delicious. Okay, let's get going. And I'm like, all right. So I drank White Claws with my mom and started pricing things. And so we had to go through a bunch of stuff.
What's the tag? There are no laws with White Claws.
Yeah.
No laws when you're drinking claws, Dane. Don't ever disrespect it again.
So, she
funny.
she loves them. And so we were doing that. Katie eventually
It's like my mom did. She thought Mike's Hard Lemonade was regular lemonade.
Oh,
Yeah.
no.
And she
This
goes,
one tastes different.
yeah, and she was like, get
She
some of
gives
that.
one to Augie.
She literally said, like, get some of that Mike's Hard. Like, I was like 23 or 24, and she was having a barbecue. She goes, get some of those for the girls, for my sisters,
Oh.
Yeah.
who were like teenagers.
Oh, God.
And I was
no.
like, what? And she
No.
goes, I go, they have alcohol in them. And she goes, what? I let them have one every day when they come home from school. And I was like, that is an alcoholic beverage with higher alcohol content than a normal
Like
beer.
5%.
She was like, oh my God. Oh, wow. Like,
Did the word hard in the title not mean anything to
no,
you?
she didn't understand. But what was funny was my sister would drink those. And when I said that, my little sister was like 15. She goes, no wonder I get so sleepy after having one when I'm trying to do my
Oh,
homework.
no.
My mom's like, oh, well, yeah, you're all getting buzzed.
Yeah.
Oh,
Anyway,
no.
so we stayed up, got all that stuff done. Saturday morning rolls around. Problem is, so Katie's working from home that weekend. So she's a rotating cycle, so she had to work from home Saturday and Sunday. So she could not be disturbed, right? So this is one of those things where
She was at work.
She said, hey, you volunteered to do this. The reason why this came about is because when we were packing for our Europe trip,
Yeah.
we realized we had way too much crap, right? We took basically, when we moved in together almost 3 years ago, I had a house full of stuff, she had a house full of stuff, and we combined it, and we never went through it after that. So we've just been putting things in places. And so that's kind of what sparked this whole thing. Last weekend, there was all that rain, and not great. This weekend was probably the last nice weekend that we could do it. So
And warm. It was almost 60.
It was
so
not
it
bad.
was windy, but it was not bad. But we woke up early, started pricing things, started to get things set out. Problem is, the sun doesn't come up until a little after 8 now, and so we are kind of out there in the dark getting most of the stuff done and priced. And I was worried because the wind. I was thinking maybe we're not going to sell a whole lot of stuff, and our neighborhood is so tucked away that I'm like, nobody's going to be able to find this place. Went out to put my signs out. Signs blew down immediately.
Oh, lovely.
So fortunately, my dad came by and he was just like, hey, is there anything I can do? And I said, signs. And he was like, if there's anything I can do, that's what I can do.
Good at that.
I thought he was just like, if there's anything else I
literally,
can do, not
I
that.
literally see him come back from his truck. He's got 2 rolls of duct tape. He's got a mallet. He's got all this stuff. He's like,
I will find a
he's like-
stationary
he's like-
object, and that
he's like-
thing is getting
He's like,
planted.
these will stick no matter what they do. I'm like, thank God. So he does that. My mom shows up, starts helping me out, and we had a couple early morning sales of people that show up before anybody else because it was on. I put it on Facebook and I put it on Craigslist. But I'm not going to go through every single little thing, but basically,
How was turnout?
the turnout was good. Not great, not bad. It was good. It was
Okay.
It was consistent. It was kind of like it comes in waves, like it always does. And when it seems like one person shows up, another person shows up seconds after that, then another person shows up.
Did you? I realize this is very much like a store mindset, marketing mindset. But did you ask people how they found out about your yard sale?
I did. Most of them
okay.
did say Craigslist. Most of them did say they have apps that search for yard sales apparently, and
Yeah.
they
No,
look,
people are crazy about
they
that.
look through all the
That's why I was
platforms.
curious,
People
like
do,
how
like-
people
So-
are finding it
Yeah.
from your
Yeah.
Facebook posts Craigslist or
very few of them
Craigslist.
came from the signs. They said the signs are
Okay.
just helping from more of a directional standpoint.
Yeah.
But basically laid everything out. We had a lot of good stuff, and that was the one thing I wanted to explain to people is that we didn't have like some good stuff in filler. It was just a lot of good, a lot of newer things, a lot of nicer things, and
Were they priced accordingly?
they were priced to sell, and that's where I was like, I just want it gone. And I was just hoping that people would show up that were also planning a wedding, would want to come buy all of our old wedding stuff.
Oh.
And that's exactly what happened.
Huh.
Lady shows up, starts taking all these pictures. Next thing you know, her whole family shows up, and they go crazy, and they bought
Nice.
a ton. So long story short, we ran it from 9 a.m. to about 1:30. And that's when the wind really started picking up, and I was like, I'm just going to start tearing stuff down. We sold about 3/4 of everything.
Nice.
So I considered that to be
Did you make
Pretty
some good
good.
money?
should I say how much we made? Is that,
Yeah.
is
You
that
can give a
appropriate?
ballpark.
Okay, we made around $1,000.
Nice.
So I thought that was pretty good.
That's really good.
I mean, you
Uh,
must have had a lot of quality stuff out there.
It was a lot, and it was a lot of cool things.
So, like
that
examples, what kind of like larger ticket items were you offering?
So we had leather
Had an-
chairs.
had
We
an
sold
Evo.
we sold our patio furniture, old patio furniture. A lot of things that we wish we would have just done differently from the beginning, but we had to like learn, right? Like,
Yeah,
don't
sure.
buy patio furniture with cloth, like things like that, especially if it's going to sit outside year round, right?
It ages.
There are certain things to not do that we ended up selling. That was fine. Sold my old garage racking, some other little tidbits here and there. And it was funny. I had one guy show up because I posted up my old PlayStation 2 and some games and some GameCube games. This guy shows up and said, "Hey, I'm a video game collector. I have this much cash on me. What games do you got?" And I said, "I don't know if they're even games you want." He's like, "Humor me." So I come back with a stack of old games, and he was just like, "I have this much cash in my pocket. You know, would you take it all for it?" I'm like sitting here. I'm like, "Well, they're not not collecting me any money, sitting on the
Right,
shelf, not
yeah.
being played. So sure." But yeah, so we made good money. It was a good day, and anything that didn't sell, I brought it back inside, and I started posting it up on Facebook Marketplace.
Sure.
And then we continued to sell more stuff later in
Nice.
the day
Nice.
as new people saw it. So that was kind of cool too.
And then you purchased something on Facebook Marketplace while
Well,
you were posting.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was Saturday, and then and Saturday night we were supposed to go to a Halloween party. Dude, I was so dead after that yard sale. I don't know why it took so much out of me. I think
Yeah.
maybe moving stuff in and out, going upstairs, downstairs. But I went to bed early, woke up Sunday, continued to keep posting stuff, and as I was posting stuff, I was on Marketplace, and my fat thumb clicked on a listing that I didn't mean to click on. And I click it, and it was a MacBook Pro that pops up. And I was like, I don't need a MacBook Pro. I already have one, right? I go to click out of it, and then I see the price, and it was like $300, right? And I'm like,
What's wrong with it?
I'm like, oh, what's wrong with it, right? And I start looking at the specs, and it was just like, it was a girl posted saying, used it in school, no longer need it, blah, 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 in great shape. So I throw out the offer, because basically here's the deal. I have an iMac from 2009 that just sits and doesn't get used.
Yeah.
I said, if I can get rid of that and have a working MacBook Pro that I can take with me on trips that would be cheaper, I would totally take that. So I just basically threw out the price of, if I can get it for this amount, then I can sell my iMac, and I can justify that. And that way Katie can't argue with anything. So I
Yeah.
said, will you sell it for $240? Responds right back, absolutely. When can you meet? And I'm like,
Right now.
what? 200? I'm like, are you kidding me? So I was
What
like,
year was it?
so it's a late 2012 or whatever
Excellent.
it
Yeah.
was. And
That's
so
a great deal.
I look at the specs, i5, it's got 4 gigs RAM, 500 gigabyte hard drive. It's on the latest Mac OS, so it can support all
It
the
was
latest
used
stuff.
in the interim. It was kept up.
So I
to
looked
date.
up what you could do to these things, and you could upgrade it up to 16 gigs of RAM.
Yeah.
You can upgrade it to an SSD. You can actually swap out the battery because it's not fused to the body. You can do all these cool little things to really beef it up. So I went out, checked it out. Thing was 95% mint.
Yeah.
A couple little like nicks, but no dents, no dings, no scratches, no nothing like that. So
Apple people will find those things, and they are still interested, even like the really older stuff. I should really list my old one because it was a
Dude.
fortune when I got it
Yeah.
back in the day. But it's like it's old.
Well,
it's
that's
like
one
an
of the great things
It's like
about-
an 06, 07.
Well,
It
and that's
was
one of
like
the neat things
$4
about the
grand.
Mac stuff is that it is upgradable,
Yeah.
and the fact that like even that this is 7 years old.
yeah.
It's the fact that Mac always builds
still-
massive computers, and then they only ever allow the operating system to unlock the performance aspects of the
Yeah.
computer. So it goes much longer. When you buy a Mac, you get to go a lot longer with the computer rather than like
Yeah.
the current PC
Yeah,
setup.
Tesla kind of adopted that model
Right,
with their
yeah.
cars.
Well, that's how my MacBook Pro that I bought when I was 25, right,
Yeah.
is the exact same spec as there is now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
i7, 16 gigs of RAM, 500 gigabyte SSD. There's all the same things. So, but I can't upgrade that one. It's not as simple to take apart.
Right.
But this one has a disk drive too, which I know you guys laughed about. But
No, I
love.
was stoked
I
about
like
that.
that.
No,
There's
I
disk
saw
I
drive.
didn't
that
laugh
part.
about it. I was stoked about it.
I made
Dane
fun of
laughed.
him because I thought he was talking about CDs, but then he said DVDs for like road trips.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh yeah, of course,
Dude,
yeah. But
DVDs,
CDs, I'm
if
like,
I wanna-
nobody uses CDs anymore, man.
Like if I want to throw down on some old Diablo 2
Yeah.
or throw down on some World of Warcraft, or not World of Warcraft,
can.
but Warcraft 3 or Warcraft, I could play those old games that I really like to play totally fine on that. So, but basically, yeah. So I brought it home, cleaned it up, ordered some upgradable stuff, and so I'll have a really killer computer for
Yeah.
$300 that's going to be reliable as all hell. So
Can't
Yeah.
argue with that.
did that, and then of course you guys are looking at, if you guys are watching, I have a bottle of Dior Sauvage here that I actually got off of eBay.
Nice.
It's a real authentic 3.4 bottle.
Question, though.
almost 90% full.
with a
I bought
magnetic
one.
cap.
I bought one on eBay that
Mhm.
was supposedly full of
Yeah.
some Hugo Boss man.
Yeah.
I think it was watered down.
Ooh.
So
Like they
So
use
they
it
know
and
what-
then they put a little water to
Well,
fill
they
up the rest.
popped the top, they put water in it, and then they sealed the top again.
Yeah.
And so I noticed it would give you the scent, but it would only last for maybe a
so
short time.
you can never
So-
buy. So here's the deal, right? Started to get really deep into this fragrance stuff.
I know.
You can't buy anything new off of eBay
Mm.
because it will be watered down,
Yeah.
right? Or it won't be the real thing.
Yeah, you got to buy
So
used.
you got to buy used, and you have to have some type of way to check the authenticity. Authenticity. But basically, so this one has the batch code on it, so I know it's legit. And I looked it up. Can you open up these bottles?
Right.
You can, but it won't not leak afterwards. So the fact that it doesn't leak, you know that it
Very
hasn't
nice.
been tampered
Clue.
with.
So
But
pick up your Sauvage today, or
Okay.
sausage, as we like to call it.
off of
I was
eBay.
I was afraid for a second that we were about to go down the same bag route we did for a minute
So
there, where we all
I
got way
want-
too
I
into
will,
bags.
I will dive deep into fragrances in another episode. But Dane,
Yeah.
smell your hand. Do you still smell it on there?
Yep,
And
it
that-
is fantastic.
Yeah,
like
it
anybody
is.
who likes that kind of like
It is a nice
Dude,
scent.
it's a manly scent. It's
it has kind of a
nice.
floral quality, but it is very masculine smelling.
I wouldn't say. I think
Still
it's,
has a
I
nice
think it's
meat scent, too.
spicy. I think it's
spicy
Yeah.
meat scent.
I think it's like spicy
no.
with like a little bit of
Spicy
like
Italian.
wood.
No, man.
little,
Spicy
little woody-
Italian.
You're like
sausage.
It's a capicola kind of
Yeah, it's got a
Yeah.
capicola smell.
a little prosciutto.
Anyways, so this will
Okay.
be the official scent of the
This will be
of the rag company.
Scent of Anthony for
SEMA.
SEMA 19.
And on that note, I think that pretty much wraps things up,
Yeah,
Yeah,
doesn't
let's
it?
end. Let's kill this.
Yeah, let's.
Kill the feed.
Happy Halloween
Everybody's
to all
affairs
y'all.
and orders.
Until yes, all your affairs in order.
Yeah.
Yeah. So with that said, we've got our Q&A Thursday coming up still. Obviously, we'll be doing that this week on the Rag Company YouTube channel. If you're not familiar with that, please go over, check it out. And if you are familiar with it, I've been kind of challenging people who go there to actually, when they're watching like another detailing video, any channel, any video, if you see somebody in the comments asking a question on that video, tell them about our Q&A Thursdays.
Yeah.
Tell them to come over and join
Throw
us
it down there.
on Thursdays from 3 to 5 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Just hang out with us. Even if it's for a little bit, you just want to ask your question and go. That's cool. But we like having new faces, and obviously we love our Q&A crew. They're the crew and A, as I call them. But
Also,
yeah.
Stop. End this now. End it.
new sale for Halloween, Beadmaker sale. You can get your limited edition pumpkin stickers that we only let out during
Yes.
Halloween. It's going into effect this week.
Yeah.
so keep an eye out for that.
All right.
All right. So housekeeping done. Guys, thank you so much for listening. Thank you so much for watching. Until next time, this is us saying adios.
Peace.
See ya.